does, he lies. He can't just say, hey, we've passed the best tax, the biggest tax cut since Ronald Reagan. He's got to lie. Again, taking something which would be a good day and just mucking it up.
He's undeterred by the fact that that's not true.
And by the fact that he
it.
lies over and over again and lies without ceasing, and even in high moments, he can't just take the victory. He has to lie about the victory and sully it.
So, Casey Hunt, this obviously is a crowning achievement for Paul Ryan, for Mitch McConnell, something they've long sought. I mean, to Josh's point earlier, every time one of these stories came up, whether it was Charlottesville or a tweet about Kirsten Gillibrand or a tweet about Mika, we said, why won't you come out against the president? The answer always was these guys want tax reform. They want to stick by his side because they want tax reform. So they're going to hang in with him until they get tax reform. Well, they got it yesterday. What's the vibe? What's the mood on Capitol Hill this morning?
They did get it yesterday, and I think part of why you saw what you saw yesterday, and I was right there with Joe in being kind of stunned to hear Paul Ryan calling the president exquisite presidential leadership. I mean,
God,
what's wrong with him? He must not be running.
Home.
He's
Go back to Wisconsin.
It's just painful.
Save your dignity. You have children. Go ahead.
So now, when you say that to a man, will it become a screaming headline that you've attacked a man?
I hope it does.
Because when I said that about a woman, it was attacking a woman, and it was unusual.
You don't call
somebody
somebody
how people think
who's a racist, who says what he said after Charlottesville, who tweets white supremacist videos
Man or
out
woman,
of Great
you
Britain.
have children, have some grace.
Inspired from a party that actually inspired an assassin to kill a member of parliament. Those are not the people you call exquisite, but go ahead, Casey.
Yes, Casey.
The point I was going to make simply is that this is Paul Ryan's crowning achievement. He's been working on it for decades. He's thrilled. The mood on Capitol Hill in the hallways among Republicans is one of jubilation, I would say, around this. But they've also learned a lot about how to manage this president. And they've learned that if you go out in public or you go on television and you say something negative, he's going to see it, and it's going to come around and bite you if you try to go have, a private meeting with the president and you want to get something done.
Sounds like an autocrat.
I am struck by the degree to which it was obvious yesterday that they have absorbed this lesson and are acting.
So Casey, let me ask you this
What
question, because many people, not many people, I think most people watching know exactly what we're talking about, that Donald Trump is trying to build a personality cult. Have you ever seen, or have any of your colleagues ever seen, such a display of cravenness of members of Congress who are duly elected and equal to the president in power, being so obsequious towards a president?
Oh my God.
I would just say I had felt like I had never seen anything like what happened yesterday as I was standing there watching it, and he called them kind of one by one, as somebody noted, by their first name, which, of course, I mean, as you guys know, having worked with him for a long time, he's demanded that in business as well. Everybody at the table calls him Mr. Trump. He uses their first names. Now, of course, he's Mr. President. I remember when President Obama was kind of at the height of his popularity, and he office in 2008, and there was just an incredible degree of excitement around the fact that he had been elected, and Democrats at that time were certainly kind of falling all over themselves to say positive things about the president, but that was because they wanted to be associated with him, and they felt proud of where their party was and their accomplishments, and I just think that the opposite is true in private, and I was just so struck by the disparity between what they were saying in public and what we hear all the time behind the scenes in private about kind of the general exhaustion and unpredictability of working with this administration. I do think this will give them some solace that, okay, maybe this was all worth it because his signature is on this bill, and they can also point to the judiciary and some other areas where things actually have dramatically changed in favor of conservatives. But it was a striking day.
Well, and what is so striking again is if you look at what these members say behind closed doors, saying he is not mentally fit, saying that he's a horrific president, that he's got terrible leadership skills.
Those are people who were on that stage yesterday.
Those are the people on the stage. The very people on the stage that were saying those things are the ones who are quietly behind the scenes telling every reporter that will listen to them how embarrassed they are to be associated with him. Every one of them. They roll their eyes, they mock him, they're humiliated to be associated with that man, and then they go out and get behind a microphone and say that. Now so I think we've defined this problem, the personality of cult, an American autocrat in waiting. I hope Americans are aware of that. Now let's talk about what this means for the Republican Party. And now I'm going to do a complete 180. Okay. You now have a Republican Party that, instead of saying we were not able to accomplish anything of significance, can now say, I'm a Republican. I'm going home for the Christmas break, holiday break, and if I hold town hall meetings, I'll say, listen, it's been a rocky ride. But look what we did. We got Neil Gorsuch in the Supreme Court. The federal judiciary, liberals complain about it every day, how conservative it's getting. We passed the largest tax cut since the early 1980s. Corporate tax rates for the first time in a generation are competitive with other countries across the globe. Regulations have been cut in record rates. The economy's humming along faster than it's ever hummed along before. As far as consumer confidence goes, a recent poll shows more Americans think the economy's doing better than in any poll that's been taken before. Stock markets are hitting all-time high. That means a lot for the college your child goes to. That means a lot for the company you work for. That means a lot for your 401k. Yes, we have some problems with this president, but we Republicans have stood and delivered.
And the individual mandate is gone as a part of this tax bill.
And the individual mandate is gone. So if you're Republicans and you deliver that message, what's the Democratic response?
Well, I mean, so many things to say.
Yeah.
Certainly you focus on the tax bill, and I think that's where we, just given the nature of the day, what we should focus on. You know, people have been commenting for weeks about how unpopular the bill is, and it's going to be the centerpiece of Republicans, what they're going to boast about when they go home, and what Democrats are going to attack Republicans over. They're going to look at this piece of legislation, which is unpopular for good reasons.
Right.
It is a bill that largely favors the rich people and corporations.
But if you're
you're asking what the Democratic response is.
But if you're a working class American, this is where the Democrats are missing it. And you get a $600 tax cut, you don't really care that corporate guys are getting a $20,000 tax cut. You're looking at the $600 tax cut that you really need.
Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
I'd say, well, maybe they are, but
the only data we have right now is that the bill's incredibly unpopular.
Right, and it should be unpopular, and I still think it's a horrible bill. I'm just simply saying, though, if people vote their self-interest, and it's just like when Bernie runs around saying, you can have free college, and you can have free health care, and you can have a free car, and we're going to give you a free cruise to Alaska. Everybody says, oh, wow, I like that plan. Well, if somebody's getting $600 more in their paycheck, they're going to think, I like this.
Yeah, well, maybe. Again, we'll see whether that's true.
Or they're going to be very upset that they're paying $650 more in health insurance because the premiums are going to go up as a result of doing that.
When will that hit?
That hits, the timing of that is much different because they're going to see those paychecks coming in and they're going to feel really good. Until around October.